This place has all the feel of a college campus. The ivy on the walls, the faculty in the halls. Walk by an open door, you hear violin and Japanese. It's a college, all right, but the average student is less than 6 years old. Welcome to the Better Baby Institute of Philadelphia, where ordinary kids are taught some extraordinary things.
This one has 12 sides. And that's it. That's a dodecahedron, huh?
Tiny children are starved for information, they have a rage to learn, and they understand superbly.
Glenn Doman, the Institute's director, has studied children for 40 years.
It's easier to teach a 5-year-old to read than it is to teach 6. Easier a 4 than a 5. Easier a 3 than a 4. Easier a 2 than a 3. And by George, easier under 1.
Do we waste time playing patty cake with our kids when we could be teaching them how to read?
The problem is that in our arrogance, we insist that children are little toys and thus waste the most precious 6 years of their lives. We think that the older you are, the brighter you are. It simply isn't true.
George Frederick Handel, Franz Joseph Haydn.
Doman contends that a baby's brain is geared to learn all it can as rapidly as it can.
Brazil.
Okay, can you find Brazil?
It is nature's way of helping a baby survive.
You want to put your plane in Philadelphia?
By age 6, Doman says, the process is over. The brain makes a big switch, using the facts it has acquired to start making judgments.
Wisdom they do not have, but the capacity to take in information is staggering. Any adult foolish enough to get himself into a language learning contest with a 2-year-old would be a fool indeed. A fool indeed. We kid ourselves that we teach them. We teach them mommy, daddy, and no. And the other 100,000 words and a good vocabulary, they learn by themselves.
Babies at the Institute are shown flashcards filled with tiny bits of information very quickly and on all kinds of subjects. Mothers do the teaching and pick the topics.
Which is the expansion bit?
I think you're right.
Wow!
Parents teach their kids all the time, but what they say is not always heard or understood. What do you do that's different than what we're doing?
What they do is arrange for the child to win, and that's what all parents should do. They should arrange for their children to win. The school system arranges for the kid to always lose. 100 spelling words, this one's wrong, big red X, no stupid, you've got it wrong. The truth is success is a habit and failure is a habit. And we arrange for the children to win all the time. We arrange for them to honestly win. I mean, it would be very foolish if a kid did something very bad and you said that was wonderful. He'd come to one of two conclusions. My father's a liar on one hand, or that failure is success. We simply arrange it so he gets things in bites in which he can succeed.
9 times 8.
Babies learn math by glancing at cards filled with dots.
72, you are right on.
They don't understand numbers, but they do know how many dots they see, no matter how they are arranged.
Excellent.
The child, like the calculator, is always looking at the answer because he is not stuck on mathematical symbols as we are. He sees reality, which is quantity, and manipulates them the way a computer does.
I think of all the pressure that parents can bring on children to learn or to excel academically. Do we have a situation that we might be creating an academic little league here where the pressures would get too great for kids?
Of course, you shouldn't force a child to do anything. That's what's wrong with the school system. You must learn this. If ice cream were presented to children the way reading is, they'd hate ice cream too.
The key seems to be in the parents' approach. If learning stays fun, learning will continue.
And those are the platonic solids.
Yes.
You can teach a parrot to learn a word or two, but you can't teach a parrot to understand. Doesn't real intelligence come from thinking and not merely just acquiring knowledge?
Certainly. If children parroted words without any meaning, that'd be meaningless. I couldn't agree more. The only thing is, I never saw a kid who did. If you give them the facts, they'll intuit the laws.
1,000 divided by 5 times 322 minus 55 plus 65. You're exactly right, Adriana. And look, it matches up. It matches up.
How much of what they learn is a permanent addition to the intelligence?
Let me ask you a question. Could you recite a poem you've learned in the last 6 months? It's unlikely as an adult that you, unless you're very unusual, it's unlikely. Could you not recite 100 poems you learned before you were 6?
Doman says all this can be taught at home, and kids don't have to be super bright to learn it. All it takes is time and love and laughter.
I have to peek. Do you mind?
For today, Bob Dotson, NBC News, Philadelphia.